From the studios in San Diego, California, this is Frank Fired Up here on the Mixed Up Sports Network, coming to you live here on this Thursday. It is the 29th day of September 2016. We have a fantastic show for you today, mostly an NFL show today, but we do have, of course, the Mets, who got a little bit of help yesterday, beating the Miami Marlins, and then the Giants and the Cardinals both losing their respective games. So the Mets are now a game and a half clear of the San Francisco Giants with three to play. The Giants, however, do have a chance to get at least a half a game back this evening. Same thing with the Cardinals as they finish up their respective series against the Rockies and the Reds. Mets have the night off tonight, going to Philadelphia to close out their season. The New York Yankees win it in grand fashion in the bottom of the ninth. A grand slam home run from Mark Teixeira, which of course we'll get to. And week 4 of the NFL season just about upon us, as the New York Jets, as we mentioned yesterday, will take on the Seattle Seahawks, and the New York Giants taking on the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football. But we'll begin today with the wild card race in the National League, which yesterday grew a little bit. St. Louis really had a chance to help themselves out. Right now, the team you really want to watch, if you're a Met fan, the team you want to watch is San Francisco. Without a doubt, the team you want to watch is San Francisco, because St. Louis is a full game behind them. So if St. Louis wins tonight and San Francisco loses tonight, now the Mets are 2 games ahead of San Francisco and St. Louis. So you have that. So the game you, again, as I said, the game you would watch tonight would be San Francisco. The Yankees with the win last night, going to the American League. The Yankees with the win last night actually still are not yet mathematically eliminated. They will be after tonight. If Toronto or Baltimore wins and the Yankees lose, or no matter what the Yankees do, if Toronto or Baltimore wins tonight, then it's over for the Yankees. Same thing with Houston. Yankees are 4 games out with 4 left. Houston's 3.5 out with 4 left. Seattle playing Oakland today, the last series of their season, a 4-game stretch. And the Detroit Tigers right now taking on the Cleveland Indians. That game on ESPN, as a matter of fact, is in the middle of a rain delay out in Detroit. So you got that. You're looking at that today. For meaningless baseball, the Nationals are playing the Arizona Diamondbacks right now. Nationals leading 5-1. I believe they're going into the bottom of the 5th inning, if I saw correctly. So that's what's going on in Washington right now. But if you look at this Mets series against the Marlins, this was a very odd series. I have no doubt that game 1 of this series, had Fernandez not had his accident and had Fernandez had pitched game 1 of this series, I think game 1 would have been a lot closer than it was. I think the Mets would have had a decent chance at a sweep in this series. They did pick up the 2 games that you would say they were supposed to get yesterday. Miami got off to a quick start. Then Jay Bruce and James Loney put the game away. Yuri's familiar with his 50th save of the season. Absolutely incredible mark. I believe that would put him as the league leader in saves with only 4 games left. I believe he does have more than 4 games, 4 saves on the next guy. So a big year for the back half of the Mets bullpen, which has been fantastic. But you look at the series last night, and that was a big series for the Mets. Now you go to Philadelphia, who you just scored a total of upwards of 35, 40 runs against over a 4-game series. That should be a series win. If you look at it, they need it. They need it desperately, because you can never be too sure, especially with San Francisco and St. Louis nipping at your heels. By the way, Familia with 50 saves last night. Zach Bryton and Kenley Jansen for Baltimore and the Dodgers both have 47. So he has not clinched most saves of the year just yet. I'm actually going to get a chance to see if Kenley Jansen can get the save opportunity as I'm going to the Padre Dodger game this evening at Petco, the final game in San Diego this year, and actually my first game since the last game of the Mets series. But anyway, you know how big it is. You know how important it is for the Mets to either take 2 out of 3 or sweep against Philadelphia, especially when you look at San Francisco, their upcoming schedule, when you look at St. Louis's upcoming schedule. It is very important that they sweep. San Francisco is coming in not too hot. There's 4-6 in their last 10. They just lost last night again. St. Louis 5 again, having lost last night. San Francisco will play the Dodgers, who are playing for nothing this weekend to end the season, and then St. Louis will play the Pittsburgh Pirates, who once again playing for other than divisional pride to close out the season. Again, doing it at home, the Mets have to do it on the road. Going to the American League, the Yankees with a big win last night. They counter Boston's 11-game winning streak with back-to-back wins. Last night, bottom of the ninth inning, bases loaded, down 3-0. You get the run in, and then it's Mark Teixeira. Mark Teixeira comes up in a big spot, gets the big hit, a grand slam for the Yankees. Yankees win it 5-3 in absolutely fantastic, dramatic fashion, and technically keep their playoff hopes alive with 4 games remaining this season. It was the McCann walk on a 3-2 pitch, and then the walk-off grand slam by Mark Teixeira to counter the Mookie Betts bases clearing 2-run double in the top of the 8th, and then the pass ball, which bloody hell David Ortiz scored on. Okay, so a big win for the Yankees last night, having only gotten 3 hits. Yankees put up 5 runs, 3 hits, 1 error. Obviously, one of those hits was Teixeira's. The other 2 were Brett Gardner. The one thing that helped him was, while Gardner got 2 hits, he also got 2 walks. Ellsbury got a walk. Sanchez got a walk. McCann walked. 6 walks issued by Boston pitching last night, and it's what ended up costing them the game. That and Benintendi going 0 for 4, leaving 7 runners on base. The left fielder for Boston last night. You get a solid game from both pitchers. Mitchell goes 7 innings, 2 hits, 5 walks. That's an issue, but didn't hurt him. Struck out 2. Buchholz goes 6, allows 1 hit and 2 walks, struck out 6. And then it all came down to bullpens, which Kimbrel gets blasted for the loss, but it was Kelly who gives up the home run. Pazos gets the win after pitching only a third of an inning. Easiest win he'll ever get in his life. And with that, the Yankees beat the Boston Red Sox and will have a chance to sweep the Boston Red Sox this evening. Going back really quick to the Met game last night before we go to break. Seth Lugo, again, doing a solid job. Gives up the runs in the first inning, but then settles down and calms down from there. Mets put up 5 on Urena, over 5 and getting 8 hits. As I said yesterday, the Mets are doing what we said they haven't done all season. And that's hit. Not just for power. They are hitting for average now. They are hitting with runners in scoring position now. And that has been the big change for the Mets over these last couple weeks. That, and now you actually have Jay Bruce hitting. Bruce went 2 for 2 yesterday with a home run. He's got 2 of those in 2 games. 3 in his last 4. So Bruce is starting to hit now. Perfect time for that to happen. And then you have the James Loney home run last night. So you're still getting, whether it's Duda or Loney, you're getting offensive production out of the New York Metropolitans first baseman. Also add an RBI for Jose Reyes into there. If a guy who's played all of about a month and a half has 23 RBIs. Imagine how much different this season could have been with Reyes leading off all season long. Now the question is, maybe does he go to second base? Because Neil Walker, he said he wants to stay with the team, but now the question would be, with his back injuries, do you sign Neil Walker again? The Mets have Reyes for another year. Why not? Why not throw him at second base? You get a cheap second baseman who's played the position before. He's not going to have to adjust the way he had to for third base. Yeah, so maybe you got that for him next year. But the lineup that you saw last night with Reyes, Cabrera, Cespedes, Granderson, Bruce, Rivera, Loney, Rene Rivera, TJ Rivera, and then Rene Rivera, and then Lugo. As I said yesterday, you're looking at what would possibly be the playoff lineup for this team. And this is the last time we're going to talk before the playoffs happen, or at least start. And I would assume this is going to be the lineup, especially now that I think they finally found a spot in the lineup for Granderson, who went 4 for 4 yesterday with a run scored. So Granderson definitely pulled his weight yesterday. He's finally hitting again. We'll move to the NFL when we return. You'll listen to Frank Fired Up on the Mixed Up Sports Network. We'll be back right after this. All right, we're back. Frank fired up here on the Mixed Up Sports Network. Um, NFL week number 4 getting set to go here, and you have the New York Jets and the Seattle Seahawks going on the Sunday game. This will be the last game for the Seahawks before they go on bye. Jets have 2 more after this on the road before they go on bye. This game is going to be very, very pivotal for the Jets. And they are already starting on the back foot. You have Darrelle Revis for the guys on the injury list. Defensive end Lawrence Thomas, he did not practice. Darrelle Revis did not practice. Matt Forte limited. Muhammad Wilkerson full practice. Decker did not practice. Brandon Marshall full participation. Offensive guard James Carpenter full participation. You already know about Bryce Petty. Ryan Clady, tackle, he was limited. Eric Henderson, full practice. Safari Jenkins, tight end, did not practice. Jalen Marshall did not practice. Devin Harris and Calvin Pryor, all with full participation in practice, both with full participation in practice. But the names that you see there, Darrelle Revis, Matt Forte, Eric Decker, either with did not practice or limited in practice. That is a big worry for the Jets. It has to be. Questioning whether or not Decker is going to play, questioning whether or not Revis is going to play, whether or not Matt Forte, who has been without a doubt one of the best running backs in the league, whether or not he's going to play. Jets have 130.7 rushing yards per game on average. Seattle's only got 102. And that is what puts them over in total yards per game. Because the Jets are short on passing yards by 8 yards. They have been a lot better on third down than Seattle has been this year. 48.7% to 41.9% in favor of the Jets. But then you look at the defense, and then this is where the trouble begins. The Jets have allowed 105 more yards on defense per game on average than Seattle. They've allowed over 120 more passing yards on average than Seattle per game. The one defensive category that the Jets are better than Seattle is rushing yards allowed per game, which is good for Forte and it's good for Bilal Powell. The Jets have allowed 26 points per game. Compare that to Seattle's 12.3 points per game allowed. And while the Jets may be scoring on converting on third down, they're also allowing a lot more conversions, 36%. They've allowed. Compare that to Seattle's 24. So the Jets have had a time of it on third down, whether it's on offense or defense, in high numbers. That right there is an issue. Defensive stats way in the favor of Seattle. For Seattle, Russell Wilson, bad news for the Jets. Russell Wilson, full participation in practice. He will play. Jimmy Graham, limited participation in practice. He is expected to play. Only Thomas Rawls did not participate in practice, either limited or full. So there is a reason to worry for the Jets. Russell Wilson will be there. That Seattle offense should be there. But this is also the same Seattle offense that's only put up 17.3 points per game, which is 28th in the league. And that is not what you expect out of a Seattle Seahawks team. Now to the Giants. This game actually is again pretty much the same situation with the Jets. Offensively, it's in the Giants' favor, surprisingly. The Giants have put up over 130 yards more than Minnesota over the course per game. Passing for about 70, 80 more yards. Running for about 50 more. Better completion percentage on third down. They're just shy of 50% on third down. Again, it's the defensive stats where you have to worry. Giants have allowed 262.3 yards per game allowed through the air to Minnesota's 211. And both teams are really allowing the other team to convert on third down. The Giants are completing at just under 50%. The Vikings are giving up at just about 50%. Injury reports have not been released yet for both teams. Since they're playing on Monday night, they should be out tomorrow. But this should be a good game between these two teams. It should be a lot closer than I think a lot of people are going to realize. Manning's got 4 touchdowns through 3 weeks, almost 1,000 yards. Beckham's already made 19 catches for 280. Meanwhile, Stephon Diggs has made 20 catches for 325 yards. And you can see it's been the Giants' wide receivers that have gotten the work. Beckham, Shepard, Cruz, all over 10. Meanwhile, Kyle Rudolph has the second most amount of receptions and yards and the most touchdowns on the Minnesota Vikings. So that means that the linebacking core, the big guys, are going to have to cover Kyle Rudolph, and they're going to have to press him. Make Monday night very, very difficult for Kyle Rudolph. That is going to be the goal. That is going to have to be the goal for the second level of the Giants. Going to have to be the goal. We'll get to the rest of the league when we return. You're listening to Frank Fired Up here on the Mix Up Sports Network. Don't go away. We'll be back right after this. All right, we're back. We may maybe wrapping it up a little bit sooner than I was expecting to today. Thought we thought we had a little bit more going on. Um, Tonight's game, Miami Dolphins, Cincinnati Bengals. This game really should be a no-brainer. I mean, the Bengals are favored by 8. I mean, this game really should be a no contest this evening. Cincinnati, this is a good game for them to sort of get back on track, try to figure out what's gone wrong these first couple weeks. They did get the week 1 win against the Jets, and then they got beat up by Pittsburgh the very next week. Um, this one should be a no contest. Then you have the Colts and the Jaguars starting on Sunday. That game will be from London, I believe, if I'm looking at that correctly. Jets, Seahawks, Lions, Bears. This could probably be one of the better chances for the Bears to get a win this season. Bills, Patriots, which everyone is going to be looking at. I believe they're talking about Jimmy Garoppolo starting. If not, it may be Julian Edelman. Who knows? Browns versus the Redskins. Panthers versus the Falcons. Raiders taking on the Ravens. I think this is a game where the Raiders can really show not only who they are, but they can also really show who the Ravens are as well. The Ravens are not a good team. They are not as good as their record suggests they are. They just flat out aren't. The Tennessee Titans and the Houston Texans, the Broncos and the Buccaneers, the Cowboys and the Niners playing on Sunday. Chargers, Saints, Rams, Cardinals. The Sunday night game will be the Chiefs versus the Steelers, and the Vikings taking on the New York Giants on Monday. Vikings are actually favored by 5 in that game. So really quick, we'll go over the odds and we'll get you the picks. This week. As I said, the Bengals are favored over the Dolphins by 8. Colts over the Jaguars by 2.5. Seahawks over the Jets by 2.5. Bears over the Lions over the Bears by 2.5. Pats are actually favored by 6 over Buffalo. That one's interesting. Redskins favored over the Browns by 7.5. Panthers favored over the Falcons by 3. Raiders over the Ravens by 3. Ravens over the Raiders, by 3.5. The Texans over the Titans by 5. Broncos over the Buccaneers by 3. Cowboys over San Francisco by 2. I thought that would have been bigger. San Diego over New Orleans by 4. My. Arizona over the Rams by 7.5. Steelers over the Chiefs by 4.5, and then the Vikings over the Giants by 5. So I am 1-5 this season on the underdog picks. I'm not going to tell you last week because I didn't make them last week, even though I did have a couple of them. It's not fair. You'd think I may have looked at the results. But yeah, so I'm 1-5 this week of this season on these picks, on the underdog picks. So I think these are actually going to be pretty easy this week. He said, showing absolutely no confidence. I think the Jaguars, the Jaguars are going to have to come out at some point and show people who they are. The Colts just got a very, very close comeback win over the Chargers. This is the time now that the Jaguars can do this against the Indianapolis Colts. They have the players, they have the talent, they could do it. I honestly think they win this game outright. I think the Jaguars beat the Colts outright. Then, especially since it's on a neutral site, that'll help it a little bit. I just said the Raiders over the Ravens. I'm going to pick that. Ravens are favored by 3.5 over the Raiders. I will take the Raiders in this game. Again, I think the Raiders are a lot better than people think they are, And two, the Ravens are not as good as people as their record insists that they are. Flacco's thrown for 774 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. West is their leading runner at 100 rusher at 119 yards, and Pitt is their leading receiver at 183. Meanwhile, Derek Carr is thrown for 367 yards, 5 touchdowns, only 1 pick. Murray's ran 32 times for 153 yards, 3 touchdowns, and Amari Cooper's got 15 catches for 270. This is going to be Oakland's game. That, and I'm also going to take the Cowboys over the Niners. I don't care that the Niners are at home. I really don't. The Cowboys are a better team than the Niners. I'm taking the Cowboys plus 2 over San Francisco. I'm sorry. Oh wait, no, I read that wrong. Pardon me. Never mind. San Francisco. Yeah, no. I'm sorry. Dallas is favored plus 2. I read that wrong. My apologies. And I'm going to take the Rams against the Cardinals. I think the Rams are better than people think they are. And the Cardinals are not as are I think the odds makers are giving the Cardinals a little bit of credit here. Because to put the Cardinals favored 7.5 over St. Louis after the game that the Cardinals had last week, you saw against the Buccaneers they can be a very, very intimidating team. They could be a very, very imposing force. I don't think they're going to be. I really don't think this game, I really don't think so. The Rams have been very solid on defense. They held the Seahawks to 3 points. I don't think the Rams are going to win outright, but I think they can cover the 7.5 point spread. So, really, it's an easy week. It really is. I'm taking the Jaguars over the Colts by 2.5. I think that'll be an outright. Raiders over the Ravens. I think that'll be an outright. And the Rams over the Cardinals. I think the Rams will cover. I don't think they'll win it outright. So with that, those are the picks. That is it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Do apologize if this program seemed a little short. I'm not sure. Krusha may be on today at 6. I know I certainly will not be with him today. I've got, as I said, I got the Padre game tonight. And I will see you guys on Monday. Have a fantastic end to the baseball season. We will be back on Monday to discuss the 2 wild card games and how the season ended for both the Mets and the Yankees. We'll discuss how the Jets game went, preview the Giants game on Monday. Also, as we do on Monday, run through the college rankings. Monday's very, very busy shows. Enjoy your baseball. Enjoy your football. Enjoy your